Now, you wrote a book which touched on this, but the main focus of the book was erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
And you talked about how it's mostly mental. And listen, me as well as probably every other man has gone through it. You know, I have OCD. So, you know, if I have sex with someone and I don't come, suddenly I think, oh my God, I can't come with anybody. Yeah. And then that turns into this whole cycle in my head, which messes me up until I break out of it. And then I get back into my sexual routine. But with you, it got so serious that you actually decided at age 47 to get an operation.
Yeah, man. I got a...
What type of operation is this?
Yeah, I went and I got a penis implant, man. I'm officially bionic.
You were the first man I've ever spoken to who has an implant. So what led up to you actually going to the most serious option?
So when I went through the psychological issue where I couldn't get an erection, it became almost like a trauma type of situation. So I could not get an erection without having anxiety. So it stopped me from being able to enjoy sex. So when you find out there's nothing wrong with you physically, you're either gonna sit with a therapist and talk about why your erection doesn't work because your mommy didn't hug you, you know, or you're gonna do a foolproof fix. And I had a homeboy who shoots porn, and he got it for work. And this guy got on the phone with me and was like, it's the best thing I ever did. So then when I went to a consultation, the doctor had a booklet where you can call former patients and talk to them about their experience. I called 4 dudes, all like 70-something years old. And as soon as I got on the phone, I said, hey, I'm 47 years old. I'm thinking about getting an implant. They was like, do it, young blood. It's the best. I wish I would have did it at your age. You're going to have so much fun. By the time I got off the phone with these guys, I was like, I'm doing it. That's it. Like, there's no way I'm not fixing this. And after you get it done, you realize that, once you get in your head with the anxiety of it, whether it's OCD, whatever it is, it's something that you think about constantly, every time you in a sexual situation. So after getting it done, and now you know it's foolproof, it's completely reliable, like it's never gonna fail. I can get hard and stay as hard as long as I want. There's no denying it. I didn't realize how much anxiety and stress that left my body with knowing that there's no more complications with sex. And the fact that women can't see it, it's no way you know a man has it, and the way that it works, like you get the best erection of your life every time, all the time. It was just a no-brainer, man. Like, it's probably top 3 decisions in my life, yo.
Okay. How much did it cost?
I went to literally the top doctor in New York City, paid out of pocket, and I got it for like 32 grand.
32,000.
Yeah, so basically I paid 12 cash, financed 20, I got a penis note.
You financed your penis implant. What happens if you don't pay?
Hey, well, you can't repo it.
You get repoed.
You can't repo it. You ain't getting it back. You better hope I pay.
Who's a penis repo man? You know? How does someone end up with that job?
Yeah, man, but look, man, every time you turn on the TV, there's a Viagra, Cialis commercial, testosterone boosters. Yeah. Obviously, everybody's using enhancement, but nobody got a problem, right? Just me, right? But dude, I just felt me going through my struggle, I didn't have a resource. I didn't have a book I can open up, tell me it's mental, tell me it could be anxiety, tell me why the pills are not working, tell me what other options, and then knowing that when all else fails, you have this option. So I just wrote the book that I could have used. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't do it medically, because when you do research it, you get a whole bunch of medical stuff. Or if you go on the forums, you just hear a whole bunch of dudes crying about their problems, right? So I wanted to write a book. It's centered around my life. It's funny stories. It shows how each story of my life contributed to developing erectile dysfunction, my ways of trying to fix it, and then if all else fails, you got the option of an implant. So it's kind of like a guide. It's a guide to guys going through problems, and it gives you a bunch of information that can, even if implant is not your decision, it tells you all the other things out there and what you can do, and if you're using it, why it's not working for you. So I thought it would be a good tool, man. So I'm hoping it reaches some guys, and I am already getting positive feedback. It made bestseller and impotence on Amazon, and I literally have guys in my DM asking me for doctor recommendations, telling me it helped them, you know. So it's kind of cool, man. Like I can't front.
Okay, now there's two types of penis implants. There is an inflatable penis implant and a semi-rigid or malleable
you
penis
cannot
implant.
touch that semi-rigid malleable one, right? That one is kind of the old school, old technology. You want to get the three-piece inflated. The three-piece inflated is as natural as it's going to come.
So they cut open your penis?
So the way it works on either side of your urethra, like let's say your pee hole, right? There's two straws, and the straws run from the tip to the base of your penis. Now, those straws is what fill up with blood to create your erection. So I don't know if I never noticed this to the surgery, but if you look at your testicles, there's a crease right down the center. Mm-hmm. So they make a small incision in that crease, and it allows them to access the base of the straws. So once they cut open the base of the straws, they then put in implant cylinders that run that whole length of the straw. They take what looks like a pump. So it looks like you have 3 testes, like 3 nuts, right?
Okay.
They drop that in your testicles, and then they connect it to a reservoir. Somehow we got spaced by our bladder that they can put a little reservoir, and they put solution in it.
Okay.
And when it's time for sex, I just grab my testicles, give it a couple of Reebok pumps, you know what I'm saying? And my man, I got freezer meat, right? It's the hardest thing. I mean, literally, if you think about the best erection you ever had in your life, that's what you got. And when I'm ready for it to go back down, next to the pump is another like little release button. I just click that button and basically just kind of squeeze, and then it goes right back down, and I'm good to go.
I mean, but you're not having sex 24 hours a day. You are, number one, do you feel it when you're not actually having sex?
No, man. It feels because
like your actual penis. You can't tell your new penis and your old penis apart.
I can tell because
I feel very weird saying this, but yeah, it is what it is.
So I think the science behind it is all of our nerve endings and stuff that creates feelings. Let's say they're on the out of our skin and maybe let's say a centimeter down. The surgery is done beneath that. So I don't feel anything. I guess it would be similar to like somebody getting like a metal rod, right? Like you're not gonna touch the outside of your leg and feel where the metal rod in there, right? But you know it's there. So the implant's in there, but anything associated with my nerves and feelings and stuff like that, I don't feel it at all. I know it's there because obviously it's I can inflate it and deflate it, but you don't have a physical feeling of it.
Okay. Now, there are risks associated with the surgery.
Yes. And
there's infection, implant problems, where basically something breaks. And there's also internal erosion or adhesion, where, the implant might stick to the skin inside the penis and wear away the skin from inside the penis. Sometimes the implant could break through the skin and so forth. So, for example, mm-hmm. I've heard from someone somewhat connected to Elon Musk that he has a botched penis implant. Have you ever heard this?
Yeah, but see, I think you're talking about 2 different procedures.
Oh, this is like the semi-rigid thing?
No,
he got?
This is, so the one that you're talking about that you get erosion and stuff like that, that's for size. So.
Oh, like.
Yeah,
So in the straightest way possible, I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
Are you the same size that you were before?
Yeah,
or did you gain a few inches?
The one that you do just for your erection, you do not gain any additional size.
Okay.
It's just going to give you what you have to the best of its ability.
Yeah.
The thing that gets the erosion and stuff like that is it's an implant that's kind of like a sleeve, and it's for girth. So imagine, when the toilet paper thing is completely gone and you got that kind of cardboard circle, you take that and you kind of split that in half, and they make an incision at the base of the penis, slide that sleeve in, and now you instantly go from a hot dog to a hot sausage, right? So a lot of guys, that want more size, they get that type of surgery, but then that's the complication: erosion. The implant can move and stuff like that. The complications you spoke about that's associated with the one that I have is the infection.
Right.
An infection is really a risk you take when you're dealing with a extremely inexperienced doctor.
Do you know men that have gotten, the other kind that actually makes them bigger?
Yeah. I know a couple of guys that got the Panoma one.
See, that to me has just always been so crazy, like conceptually. I mean, it's so interesting how it's a bit of a double standard, right? You see women who get BBLs and breast implants all day long, every day. I know a lot of women who have those, but listen, I'm not the world's biggest man, but I've never even considered, expanding my penis through an operation. Like, that just seems to be crazy, because if something goes wrong, and to me, it's not even that serious, that it's just like, this would kind of ruin my life in a way. Yeah. In fact, who did this? John Bobbitt, I heard, did this. You know who that is?
Yeah, that's the guy
whose wife cut off his penis and threw it in the bushes. But they reattached it, and I guess he got a penis enlargement, but the surgery ended up getting botched. So he had some sort of weird situation after that.
Well, listen, so remember, we said everything's psychological, right? So I do know guys that have confided in me that have anxiety and stuff because they're self-conscious about their size, right? So I obviously, you're confident, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, I was confident, but you gotta, if you're being empathetic and putting yourself in that guy's shoes, if he's going into every sexual situation feeling defeated, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Your confidence comes first, right? So I guess in that state, the risk is worth it, right? And we always hear the horror story of it, right? We always gonna focus on the complication, but if they do 1,000 of these, if one goes wrong every 1,000, you gotta hope you get lucky, right?
Man, listen, I'd rather have a small penis than a botched penis. I
got you.
But you know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen,
if I was those guys, I would seriously think about it. But,
I completely agree with you, but I'm not gonna say I'd rather have a limp penis than a hard penis. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gotta work. You know what I mean? So I'm doing what I gotta do to stay in the game for sex,
I think Liberace had a implant as well, right?
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah, because I remember I saw like a movie about him, and I remember it got mentioned in the movie. Yeah, he was gay, by the way. And,
Well, I mean, hey,
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah.
I guess the part I don't quite understand also is that just because you're hard doesn't necessarily mean you'll come.
Well, desire is real, right?
Yeah.
But that goes with everything.
You could be hard, but you're just not into the girl. She's maybe not into you. The mood isn't right. You got other things on your mind. You're hard. I mean, there's times where I've had sex for 30, 40 minutes. I just didn't come.
Yeah.
Sometimes even longer than that. Sometimes I've, gotten with a girl and we've had multiple sessions, and each time I just don't come, because I just can't get my head into it.
Yeah.
I stay hard. That part's cool, but so just being hard doesn't mean you're necessarily going to orgasm, right or wrong.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with pleasure, right?
Oh.
This has to do with ability.
Huh. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So if ability is your problem.
That's interesting. Okay, so it has nothing to do with pleasure, it's just ability.
Yeah, I mean,
and
look,
that's a little bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, but if you want the pleasure, you have the option, right? What you're saying is you always have the option, but the pleasure is not a priority, right? Or the pleasure doesn't necessarily make it there for you every single time. But there's some guys that want the pleasure, but they don't have the ability.
Okay.
Well,
and from what I understand, you actually told your dad about it, who was like 60 at the time?
68.
He was 68 at the time?
Yeah.
And he actually went and did it himself?
You can't tell him nothing, man. He probably got on gray sweatpants right now. Can't tell him nothing, man.
I mean, how old is he right now?
70.
70. I mean, how much dick are you slaying at a 70?
Man, it's not about how much you're slaying. Like my dad. So think about it, man. Like, life does men dirty, right? It usually takes us to get to an advanced age to get all our ducks in a row. You know what I'm saying? You got the money, you got the house, you got the retirement, you got everything set up. But then most guys, that's when you check out sexually, right? You decline, and a lot of guys are older, set up great, and they can't perform. And that was my dad, right? My dad had everything, and my dad's super social, funny guy. Women like him. He still looks good. He's in shape. But I noticed he had nothing going on in terms of dealing with women. And so when I told him I was getting a surgery, which everybody does, I'm getting a surgery. No, don't do that. You crazy. What are you doing? And then after I got it done, and a few months later, I'm like, yo, man, this is crazy or whatever. He was like, yo, what's that doctor's number? He went straight and got it done, man. And now he's a new man. He's a new man. And I want to say the first few months, my dad was turned into he was bugging out. You know what I'm saying? But it's come back to normal.
Bugging out what? Just a bunch of...
Just women, bro. Like my dad, 68 years old, every girl he dated was younger than me.
Okay.
He was making it happen. You know what I'm saying? But now he's back to normal, but he still makes him feel different because now if a woman flirts, now if he has interactions, he's not doing it from a place of insecurity. You know what I'm saying? He's confident. He knows if it goes there, I'm good. And when you remove that from your psychological standpoint, bro, it's empowering, bro. There's nothing more emasculating than wanting to have sex and can't.
No, man, I feel you. Listen, I've told women that in the bedroom, there are 2 words that every man dreads. What's wrong? When a woman says that, and I'm sure it's coming from a good place with them, there is nothing more damaging to your ability to perform when you hear that.
Yeah, man.
Because then you're like, okay, let me come up with an excuse. Oh, I've had a lot on my mind. I'm stressed out about my work.
Mine was I just did legs in the gym. My legs are sore. I can't get past the soreness. I have my excuses lined up.
Man, listen, like, I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go through the same types of insecurities and, things in my head and so forth. And I got friends like, Adam22 who actually do porn, who could actually perform with a camera. And I mean,
that's,
cameras and a bunch of other guys. I mean, he did a threesome with his wife, and another guy. Some men are built differently. I remember in our last interview, we were talking about this. And he was talking about a scene, he knew the company that put it on, and it was like a scene with like 5 guys and a girl, and 4 of the guys couldn't climax. But one of the guys had like a superpower. He literally went 4 more times.
That's crazy.
One after another, to make it look like the other guys were actually climaxing as well.
Crazy.
I know a guy who told me he showed up for a 5-guy gangbang. So him and 4 other black dudes all banging this chick. 4 of them couldn't finish, but this guy has the superpower of being able to come multiple times. He went 5 times in a row, and they passed this off. This is out there in the world, but it seems like you see 5 different dicks coming. No, it's the same guy 5 times in a row because the other 4 dudes couldn't do it.
Everyone's built differently.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Absolutely.
Pretty sure you can't do that.
I'm a sniper, bro.
I don't think anyone else,
round. I got one round.
The rest of my staff could do it. But some dudes could be like, one after the other. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But I can't.
That's not bad.
It just is what it is, But listen, you got the operation. You feel it's great. I'm sure a lot of men go through different versions of this. And look, like, I've messed around with Viagra and Cialis and stuff like that. And, has its advantages and disadvantages and so forth. I remember Viagra would give me headaches. Cialis is actually not too bad at lower dosages and stuff like that. But it's not always foolproof either. I've taken Viagra and not been able to climax.
Yeah.
I could get hard, but sometimes I could even get hard. So sometimes if I'm just not into the person, even with the Viagra, I just can't quite perform at the level that I want to perform at.
Yeah.
And then you get the headaches afterwards with like Viagra and so forth. So if you found something that worked for you and you love it, your dad loves it, great.
Yeah.
More power to you. And I think that this is something that 99% of men wouldn't admit.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to feel like they're Superman. And, I could take down 20 women in a night, and I never go soft, and I got 14 inches and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is it's not that. We're all human. We all have feelings. We all have insecurities. We all get in our head. We all deal with various levels of attraction and so forth. And, you know, I think you putting it out there, especially on a platform like this, because I don't think you talked about this in your other interviews.
Yeah, no, I haven't, man. So, yeah, I actually appreciate you for...
Yeah, of course. No, you told me to read the book before the interview, and this is what we did.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
You know, I appreciate you putting it out there, and I think a lot of men who are going through this are probably going to reach out to you or actually do their own research and do it.
Yeah, exactly.